My new favorite rage bait is just responding with, yeah, I saw that TikTok, bro. Me too. I saw that too. I was actually a fan of it. I liked it. I saved it. Here it is. Whenever they're coming at you with an argument or whatever, and it's like, you just laugh and be like, oh yeah, I saw that TikTok. I saw that meme. That was pretty good.
Man, that is good. I'm gonna download that into my brain and make it like it was something that I came up with or came across naturally, and not just told to do by someone in a TikTok. Hi again, fellas. And this is a video by one TikToker, GlitzXO, and he has a lot of these. Just a series called New Favorite Rage Bait. And while he's not like pioneering a lot of these things, some of them actually have like decades old roots or earlier forms that they took pre-internet even. He is a very good curator of these. And rage bait is more and more a part of how the social media ecosystem tends to work in today's internet. Especially on Twitter, where all kinds of engagement bait are the current meta. Rage bait kind of reigns supreme because you just need views on your tweet if you have a blue check mark, and you can get some amount of money from that. Oftentimes it requires like being an intentional idiot in order to farm replies and views. Other times it's just saying stuff you straight up don't believe because you are targeting a certain audience you know will get mad at you doing that. And I think it's very easy to find yourself falling for this rage bait, even if you're aware of what it is. I'm a guy who is very passionately trying to avoid falling into these traps and still do at times if I care about something enough. And so one of the best defenses you can have against those is learning the tools of the enemy, and you know, maybe you'll find a use for them in your own life. A lot of these are also in the context of arguments you're actually having with people, or even trying to rage bait your friends as like a bit. Some of this might start edging into like emotional abuse territory, but think of this as a primer for a more in-depth rage bait video I want to make down the line. So GlitzXO, let's see what you got for us.
My new favorite rage bait is just going, yeah, it sounds like you're projecting. Why are you getting so defensive? It sounds like you're kind of projecting. Trust me, it gets them so mad because then they're on the back foot, right? You put them on the back foot and there's not really much they can use to counter out of it at that point.
I do enjoy that in a lot of these, and you'll see the pattern is that he describes exactly how you should say the rage bait tactic or execute it, and then he gives you a use case of what the follow-up will probably be. The thing with sounds like you're projecting is that it's kind of another version of I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. But you couch it in kind of faux therapy speak. Like, projecting is a genuine thing, but a lot of people say people are projecting over shit that they're very much not.
They just have to walk away or something, because if you're just like, sounds like you're projecting with that one, seems like you're getting really defensive, sounds kind of like you're projecting.
God, it pisses me off just hearing him give me like an example. One thing to consider when you're doing the sounds like you're projecting thing is to make sure that your own house is in order before you do so, because if you get caught doing the thing you're trying to bait someone into anger with, oh man, you're gonna look really stupid unless you double the fuck down. Blitz actually has some tactics and ways to worm your way out of those predicaments as well.
My new favorite rage bait is just going, well, where did you leave it? This is only really works when somebody's lost something and they're looking for it. They're looking all around. They're frantic. You know, they're looking for their keys. And they're like, you know, they're looking for it and you're like, what are you looking for? And they're like, well, I'm looking for my keys. And it's like, well,
where did you leave them?
Not even just retrace your steps. Where do you remember having them last? Just, well, if you lost it, just remember where it is, dumbass. And I feel like this is one that anybody with, you know, an active mother in their life might be able to just instinctively pull on their experience going through. Because it feels like if you're looking up and down the house for something important that you lost, you don't ever want to tell your parents that you lost it, because they'll go to a place that you could have sworn you thoroughly searched and it'll magically appear there. It can almost feel like that your parents were rage baiting you and were actually the ones who took it and put it somewhere that, like, you know, you weren't allowed to look as a kid. And when you inevitably had to come to them for help, it was a power play for them to put it somewhere you said you already looked, in a setting where somebody's talking about losing something not physical, or something that's like not even a file on a computer that you can't find in your very poorly organized Windows Explorer. If somebody says, man, I've lost my way, or I've really lost my passion for a creative medium I really used to enjoy, asking, well, where did you leave it? It could make them laugh as a potential tension breaker, where they appreciate your good-naturedness and willingness to joke with them even though it's a serious topic. But it could also get like an explosive emotional rage out of them. They are opening up to you about something really dear and personal to them, and you're just like making jokes like, well, just find it again, idiot. I'm pretty sure versions of this are going to be discussed in some of the TikToks that Glitz makes, but one of my editors, Kwite, has this rage bait he's been doing to me for years that I just like kind of factor it into how I have to converse with him. You will say any hard fact, serious or not, or like something objectively true in reality or that happened, and this motherfucker just says, No. I remember it actually annoyed me at the start. Now I just find it kind of amusing and like he has a typing quirk, but in his actual speech patterns. The only real way to counter it is to just accept that he's right, and you're like, well, Nuka said so, so he must be onto something. Or to blow off the head of whoever said that shit to you.
My new favorite rage bait is that whenever somebody tells you something, you just be like, I don't really know what that means, and do not tell me. And then you really just have to walk away. You have to just end the conversation immediately. Because what it does is, like, your opinion, your argument, one, I don't even know what you're talking about. Two, I don't even want to know what you're talking about.
If you want to rage bait someone with this, telling them I don't know what that means and I don't want to know cannot be an understandable reaction to hearing that. It has to be someone telling you about a tragedy in their life that they genuinely need support through, and that doesn't make sense being a particular sore spot for you, like maybe you have trauma around a similar topic. These two criteria have to be met before this is successful rage bait. I think this would probably be really effective if someone is just gushing about a favorite piece of media of theirs, one that like you don't really care about spoilers for and they know you don't care about spoilers for, and you're like, I really don't give a shit, man. Like, I don't want to hear about the things that interest you or give you joy in your life in an increasingly cruel world, and even that it's not always applicable. This is a very situational one, but that I think could have quite explosive results if you can put it in the right powder keg.
My new favorite rage bait is just going, wah, wah. Whenever somebody, is in a really heated argument with me and they're really passionate about whatever they're talking about, they're saying things like, you just don't get it, you're not understanding me, all this stuff is just really hitting them with a
Wah, wah.
You could argue that the formatting of some of these TikToks is rage bait on their own. I know a lot of people who just aesthetically do not like intermittent slowing down and speeding up of somebody's speech in a TikTok, because to a lot of people it's like, what's even the point? How is this emphasizing any argument you're making? I hate it just by looking at it. Back to the wah wah example though, we know this works because the way that this one entered our lexicon was in a very volatile situation on a news clip. There was this guy talking about families and children being separated from each other at the border, and another talking head that he was arguing with just went wah wah.
Who was taken from her mother and put in a cage.
Wah,
I read
wah.
about did you say want to a 10-year-old with Down syndrome
What
being
I
taken
said
from
is
her
you can
mother?
pick anything
How
you
dare
want that,
you?
but
In that context, I think it was a knee-jerk reaction from that dude who didn't really clock what exactly he was saying this about, because in the original clip he tried to like pivot really hard away from him saying wah wah to families being separated, but he has given us an excellent tool to rage bait about less serious things maybe. I broke my foot, my parents are dead, wah wah, get over it, bitch, I don't want to hear it. A lot of these I really could go in on for like a full video's length, though they would probably be more piecemeal and have less of an overarching topic or theme to them. There's this one channel with a Y, a dude who's definitely not me, that may or may not be making videos on some of these individual ones. That guy thinks that maybe he can get a full 10-minute out of it. I hear he's uploading daily. I don't know why he's doing that. That's crazy, man.
My new favorite rage bait is when someone's just acting super over the top and just like super performative. Whenever they stop talking, you just go, and scene. And oh my gosh, that's really gonna drive them nuts. I promise you.
This is one I really like because it has the potential to get two birds with one stone. I feel like this works best if you're like third wheeling as a spectator of two other people's arguments. And you have to pick your entry point in here really carefully because you are inserting yourself into something that might get you outnumbered by people angry at you, and especially if you're in real life, they might just beat the fuck out of you, man. But like imagine two opposing sides of an argument are just having a shouting match, back and forth, talking over each other, whatever it may be. If there's a lull in the discussion where maybe they both have to catch their breath, or even if they manage to come to some sort of tender resolution or agree to disagree sort of truce, going and scene means that you don't view either of their positions as at all valuable, and it was simply entertainment for you. These were two actors acting out a screenplay, one that you might have written in your head as you watched it go down. It's diabolical shit, I must say, but if you can pull this one off, it might be an all-timer of a story that you can tell at parties.
My new favorite rage bait is just telling someone that, oh, you just self-exposed. Just like the Among Us days, oh, you just self-exposed. And it really works when you're trying to turn their argument into meaning something bad. Like they're arguing something, and you're like, dang, you'd really just self-expose that you're that type of person.
I see this one the most when people can't really make a counter-argument, so they have to really uncharitably pull apart someone else's points. Be careful with this one, because you might start making, like, crazy allegations about a person who doesn't deserve all that. At least not to the level that you might be saying. Like, I have seen people tie really innocuous things into, oh, you must be a pedophile? And to be fair, this is kind of a version of the, oh, you're projecting thing, except it takes it a step farther. I think one of the tenets that can make rage baiting debating amongst friends kind of fun at times and act as bonding moments is knowing when to drop the joke. You have to be okay with not seeing a bit through to the end and accepting that it's run its course if you don't want to actually like damage friendships. I think the other type that could actually go over well with friends is when the connection you're making might feel like a leap in logic, but for those who have enough context, they kind of just have to hang their head in defeat and be like, yeah, like take my intense obsession with Shadow the Hedgehog, or even just liking the Sonic franchise for over a decade in general. You could pretty safely say it's like, oh, so that's your autism diagnosis, right? You're not gonna get much rage out of me, just resigned acceptance. Like, yeah, I mean, it was certainly an early warning sign, huh?
My new favorite rage bait is just in the middle of an argument looking to somebody else that's also, in the room and just being like, what is this guy even talking about? Imagine you're in a heated argument about something and the guy that you're in an argument with just like cartoonishly looks over to his friend and is just like, what is this guy even talking about?
There are two scenarios where I can see this being used with effectiveness. One where you are in the argument. It can kind of be seen as an admission of defeat where it's like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. He's talking nonsense. He's not even worth listening to. And the other is, again, as a third-party spectator to a conversation other people are having. Maybe you overhear a sentence or two that sounds crazy out of context, and you might not even address them directly. They might be within earshot if you were able to hear them, but the joke isn't intended for them. You turn back around to whoever you were talking to and be like, what is that guy talking about? He's talking crazy! And in that case, even though it can act as rage bait, if the dude you're referring to overhears you saying that they were talking, crazy stuff, it can also be like a fun conversation starter for somebody else that you were talking completely disconnected from the guy talking crazy.
One of my favorite rage bait tactics is just assigning a random astrology sign to them. Right? You can't be like the one that like determine like the day and the month that they're born, but like one of like their super niche ones, like their sun or moon or like their fucking Venus in retrograde. I don't know the terms for it.
I'm not gonna lie, this one would work on me even if you used my actual astrology sign, like the really broad one. Like if after anything I did, you just said, ugh, Kwite is such an Aries for that, especially if it was like emotionally sensitive for me, and I would freak the fuck out anyways. You could make up one that's not even at all applicable to me, and I'd be like, are you trying to say that the circumstances of my birth were determined a part of me that I'll never be able to change because of those circumstances? Like, I am liable to fly off the handle for some shit like that, man. I think astrology can be really fun, and knowing what your different signs are is like, a fun little hobby or pastime to have, but when people try to ascribe like objective personality traits and characteristics to it, I just, ooh, you're getting real close to biological determinism for me, brother.
My new favorite rage bait tactic is just saying, yeah, big if true. Yeah, that big deal if that's true. Especially if it is something true, or they're like talking about something like that's actually like really big in the world. Like, oh, this group of people is like so bad, they're killing so many people, they're taking over all of this land or whatever. Yeah, big if true, I guess.
If you are truly trying to rage bait someone, and you have like no moral compunctions or boundaries about how people view you, or you only care about the reaction to the bit, this one gets better with time if you just continue to say it about the same topic over and over again. They found out the Earth was round centuries ago, and you're like, hey man, that's big if true. You frame it like, I just have to do the reading on that. I don't want to say anything too uninformed because, I'm a big, like, facts over feelings kind of guy, implying that you are going to look into this before you speak on something you are saying you're not knowledgeable on. But you never become knowledgeable. You just said that to not have to take a stance while also acknowledging the gravity of it. Funny, Earth, if it was the case.
My new favorite rage bait tactic, and this has to be used IRL, or short for in real life, guys. Basically what you do is you just walk really slow, but not like, you can't shuffle your feet, you can't drag your feet. You walk at a normal like cadence, you walk like at a normal like leg movement, but you just do it very slow, very gingerly.
This is especially effective in New York, but you gotta be careful when you do IRL rage bait because you might be liable to get retaliated against with something more than words. And I won't lie, this one kind of attacks me and my soul specifically because I am short. I will actually be walking at a more quick pace than I usually would, and they're still outpacing me. And it feels like they're almost rage baiting me for being short because they just have a longer and faster natural stride that I have to ask them to slow down for me for. I just don't think I could imply this tactic because if I'm the guy walking slow, I could be getting mad over them just continuously outpacing me because I physically cannot keep up with them. Or they might get enraged that I'm short and I can control it. Just them going, why couldn't you have a different set of genes, Kwite? Kwite. Just go faster, get longer legs, do the surgery that makes it so you'll never be able to do sports again because you broke your shins to get an extra 6 inches. Like I said, I could probably dig into some of these as in like their own solo topics, but I'm gonna wrap this one up here. If you guys have any favorite Ragebait tactics, be sure to leave them in the comments below. No promises on when it's gonna come out, but I do genuinely want to make a longer video on Ragebait in the mechanics. The issue is I might have too much brain damage to properly articulate that, so no promises. I want to do at least make one video covering the subject. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I'll see y'all next time.